Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest and new, different Game Rivals. I am your host, Maximilian X. As always, it is just me today, and it will be just me for the foreseeable future until I can find a new co host. Sean Templar is not here right now because, um, well, I don't know if you listened to the last episode that we put out. I've seen that a lot of people have listened to it, hopefully all the way to the end. But basically, we went on hiatus because uh, we needed to try something different. Sean Templar wanted to try something different, and I took my time to reflect upon what Game Rivals means to me and what it does. And uh, part of the things that I do like is that it is a conversation about the gaming industry, and we talked about the video game industry and everything else and what it means to us, our opinions, of course, on the game industry, and that is what this show is been about. That's what it's always been about, and I want to continue that conversation with all of you through this podcast, through this medium of doing stuff right now. So some of you might actually notice there is no video version of this because as much as I do love to bring this back, including a video version, um, I am not ready to do that yet as a solo thing. There are some things that I want to be able to do so that I can bring you the best version of this in video form. So please bear in mind with me. Also, you'll probably notice at the time code that this is not a very long episode. That is because it's just me and I don't want to talk your ear off. Basically, this episode is going to be mostly housekeeping and stuff that you can expect from me from this podcast going forward. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of plans for this podcast, and I hope that through your listening, through participating in hopefully in various ways, we can make this podcast the success that it deserves to be. And I know that there are people out there that support this podcast, that support me doing this podcast. And first of all, I want to say to those that supported me and supported Sean and I and this show um, for all the years, thank you. Thank you very much. Of course, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to Sean that you supported us for all these years. And we hope that you'll continue to not only just support us, but also help the podcast grow. So a few things to note is that, like I said at the beginning, for the foreseeable future is just going to be me. I am still looking for a permanent co-host because a conversation with someone else is way more entertaining than just me talking to you about gaming stuff for a half hour or an hour, depending on how much I can talk into the ether with just me. If it's a rant, I'll probably rant until the cows come home, but let's be honest. You don't want all the episodes to be rants. So for now, it's just gonna be me. I do have some ideas for having special guests on, so please look forward to those. Um, we're when we have a special guest on, it is just gonna be a conversation, mostly gaming related, um, and like having a conversation is just fun because it's a unique way for us to share our experiences with one another and essentially compare notes, which is also really fun. And the fun thing, of course, is comparing notes not just with our special guest, but with you, the audience, the listener, the one who's listening to this right now. Um, I want to do more with you guys, with all of you lovely people out there. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to do the occasional like quiz. This will be strictly audio only because the thing that I want to do is I want to do like a music quiz where once every quarter, um, yeah, I don't want to be like every month because that means that's a lot. That's way more work, and my time is still limited. So yeah, like at least once a quarter, what I want to do is like I want to do a game soundtrack quiz where I'll play like 7 seconds of a song, and uh, you all at home get a chance to guess. You'll have ample time to guess what these songs are, and the winner gets a prize. It'll most likely be like codes for services. So think Game Pass, Nintendo Switch Online, or PlayStation Plus. Maybe on an occasion it will be a monetary value, like a gift card with a monetary value on it for your region. I'm gonna try and make it work uh, for to have it be a worldwide thing because we do have a worldwide reach with this podcast. So that's one of the things that I wanted to do. The other thing that I wanted to do is this is still going to be a bi-weekly podcast. So you'll have every other Wednesday to look forward to a new podcast episode. It's either going to be me or me with a special guest, or when I have a new co-host, it'll be with them. Um, Also, don't worry, you will hear of Sean Templar again when there's something interesting to talk about. He has expressed that he will do that, and I know that he will because he's a man of his word. Um, because he's just that nice. Um, the other thing is, I also want to bring back one of my personal favorites, the hidden gems, but not as a permanent new segment on the podcast. But I want to bring it back in a unique way, which is you'll be seeing that will probably before before you see any like video podcasts from me again, you'll probably see hidden gems coming up, not just as a part of the Game Rivals podcast channel, but also of the Game Rivals YouTube channel as a short. Um, it's not also going to be me. I'm also going to be asking my guests if they would like to contribute to the hidden gem, and then they give us their hidden gem, and it'll be featured on the YouTube channel as a short. So that's the things. Those are the things that I'm working on right now. Um, from this moment on, that's how the Game Rivals podcast is going to look like. So that's kind of basically it. Um, all I want to say is that I am very grateful for having Sean Templar support for these past 4 years. And you know, he's a cool guy. That, like, of course, uh, the reason why this podcast was called Game Rivals is because you know I was mainly a Nintendo fan and he's mainly a PlayStation fan, and the whole dynamic was supposed to be like, well, we're trying to find middle ground between the two of us being from two different camps. Kind of a little bit like going back to the 90s, like uh what do you call it again? The console wars? How did I forget that word? How did I forget that word? The console wars, man. If you're old enough to remember the actual console wars, you're old. I mean, I know. I'm saying that and I'm saying it because I know that I'm old. We're all getting old. I mean, it's a thing that we do. Um but yeah, the game rivals spun from that, and it became something I feel more than that trope. As the months and years went on, um, we really had some really fun episodes. We had some great special guests on. Um, some of the best ones were like when my cousin uh, Silver came on, and it was so much fun. Like he asked some really cool questions, and like it was a really nice conversation to have with him. And you know, we had like great guests like Robin and Gizmo come on, and I hope to have them back on in the future as well. Um, so yeah, there's a lot that there's a lot that I want to work on with this podcast. There's a lot I want to do. Um, there's a lot that I don't want to talk about because I don't want to talk about something and then have it not pan out. At the very least, these things I know that I can get done and I can make sure that it happens. So, at the very least, from what I want to say right now is the podcast will be here every other week, just like it has always been, 12 p.m. Central European time. Um, so that's midday for me if you're living in the Europe. If you're not living in the Europe, yeah, use the time converter. I do not. I am not a time converter. I have to look it up. Um, but yeah, so those are the things that I wanted to do. So again, I want to say thank you to my co-host Sean Templar, for being a big support and being there for 4 beautiful years and having like the best time ever, like recording a podcast. Like because I've been wanting to do podcasts since 2005, and we finally started it back in, dang it, 4 years. I want to say 2018. Um, and yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, he'll definitely be on like as a guest on whenever there's interesting topics to talk about. Um, yeah, look forward to the Hidden Gems shorts. They're going to be really fun to make. I'll do my best to make them at least as interesting as possible and to talk about games that most likely you haven't heard of, but I'll also try and do my best to talk about games that are somewhat relatively attainable. Because I know that there are some hidden gems there that might not be possible to get. But the other thing for hidden gems is not just to tell you about games that you should play. It's also to preserve um, the knowledge of those games existing in the first place. Um, and like I think I think most people are aware of that I am a big fan of retro gaming and like video game preservation, and the hidden gems to me felt like a part of that. There are some games that Sean Templar didn't know about. There are some games that I didn't even know about, and I had fun. We both had fun, just telling each other about these games and learning more about these kind of games. So look forward to that. Outside of that, I still stream. I think if you're listening to this now, at least a percentage of you are listening to this because you heard me talk about it on the live stream or got mentioned to it by one of my many friends on Twitch, who were gracious enough to promote the podcast when it was still running, and even talk about it while it was on hiatus. So thank you to all of you who have been promoting the podcast, even though it wasn't on. Uh, you'll definitely hear more from them. I hope I will be able to have as many of them as guests on an episode. So please look forward to that as well. Lastly, I think, yeah, this is like I said, this is gonna be a really short episode, because I just wanted this to be a housekeeping kind of thing. Uh, don't worry, I'll still keep the news. I'll still be talking about new stuff. I'll do my best to keep it as varied as possible. Um, because not everybody's just into Nintendo stuff, and I understand that and I get that. But the fun thing for me has always been with the gaming industry that it has a lot of facets to it, from the business side to the development side to like community side and everything in between. That's the fun part about being a gamer, right? Because everybody has their own thing that they really do appreciate, but I also feel that the more you're able to be aware of the game industry, the more you can appreciate what you're getting from the game industry. and that's just something that feels right to me, and it's something that I love to continue to share with all of you. So for now, I think that's it. Unless there's anything else. No, no, that's it. So please stay tuned to the next episode, which will go live in 2 weeks, which will be the first normal episode of Game Rivals Redux 2.0 remastered. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It is still Game Rivals because it wasn't just me that was a game rival. It wasn't just Sean Templar that was a game rival. A game rival. It was all of you. You are also rivals of us, of me, um, in the very, very anime sense of the word rivals. Um, Not in the oh, you're my rival, I want to like kill you or anything. But no, like the kind of rivals that it starts off very antagonistic with one another, but then you learn to you know respect one another and help each other grow through competition. And that is what I want to continue to do. So you're all game rivals to me as much as I was a game rival to you, as much as Sean Templar was a game rival to you. So with that, rivals, I have been and always will be Maximilian X, and I'll catch you all next time. Later.